Hey, it's Laura. Welcome to John chapter 8. All right, the overview of the chapter is here Jesus is. He's in the temple complex and people have come to him. He's teaching. It's the Feast of Tabernacles. And he's basically just showing how the whole feast points to him. And what happens is the scribes and Pharisees, they see a woman caught in adultery and they bring him to Jesus. And what happens is they're all sitting down. They bring him. He stands when they're accusing this woman, and then he stoops down, writes in the dirt, and then he talks about the stones. He who's without sin casts the first stone, and then they walk away. Then the rest of the chapter goes on to talk about him declaring himself as the light of the world, and goes a lot into how to talk to Jews about Jesus, all right, which is cool. And then it ends with them picking up stones because he's declaring himself as God, and then he goes out, he's hidden and went out of the temple. So that is the chapter. Some things that stand out to me is here Jesus is teaching and they stick someone's sin right in the middle. Some things that stand out about that is that Jesus stood with her. He stood with the accused, which is amazing. And then he stoops down, he's writing in the dirt. We're not sure what he's writing in the dirt, and it's kind of cool that God kept that hidden. Some commentators have suggested that maybe it's the 10 Commandments, which I kind of agree with, because that makes sense that the older guys who threw their stones down first, they were able to see that they don't measure up to the 10 Commandments. So they see their sin. And if their sin is written right out there in front of them, they're able to remember and bring that to their mind, because most of them probably had the Torah memorized, the entire thing. So that, or it could have been in Deuteronomy 17:7, the handwriting on the wall. It could have been a reminder of that. Who knows? But God used that, the Holy Spirit, to remind them of their sin enough that they are able to drop the stones. And something else that stood out to me is how, isn't that what we do? As mankind, as humans, get our eyes off Jesus and his teaching and onto the sin of others. They stick her right in the middle. How humiliating. So instead of, we as humans dishing out grace on people, we tend to dish out humiliation and disgrace, right? So that's what happens here, and that is so like Jesus, to try to get Jesus down because of the sin of other people, to try to trap him by people's sins. And which that leads me to some things that we can see about God's heart is he's not shackled by people's sin. Sin cannot keep him down. He rose from the grave, all right? Our sin doesn't keep him down. It has no power over him. All right, he stands as the judge, and he stands with the accused at the same time. That is amazing and mind-blowing. Our sin can't trap him. He wants our attention. All right, so as he's in the dirt here, people are like, what's he doing? What's he doing? Trying to look at what he's writing in the dirt. He wants our attention, and he teaches us. He didn't just ignore this situation. He was there to teach. He uses this as a teaching opportunity, and he continues to teach. So he wants us to know him. He teaches us. He is the light of the world, he talks about, and he is the great I am, which is said twice in this chapter. So those are things that we can see about his heart and character. Some principles that stand out is to remember that our sin cannot trap Jesus. It can't hold him back. It can't keep him down. It didn't destroy him. It didn't shackle him. He beat the power of sin and death. That is so cool to remember, that our sin can't keep him down. It can keep us down, but it can't keep him down. And to remember that for other people, that other people's sin is not going to keep Jesus down. He's not destroyed by their sin. He beat the power of sin. So another principle is our actions and motives show who we're really trusting, and our sin can't trap him. So as far as personal applications of what stood out to me is to point people to Jesus, and ask him, like, God, help me point to you. Help me in every situation, whether it be when somebody brings somebody else's sin right in my face, like to point to Jesus, not to, continue gossiping or hearing or whatever that may be, but really to bring it back to Jesus. So that's what stood out to me. I would love to hear. Let me know in the comments what stood out to you and how did God speak to you? What did he lead your mind in how to apply this and his heart and character, how to apply this to your life? I'd love to hear. Let me know.